Well, hell indeed froze over on Saturday night because the closing moments of the Survivor Series pay-per-view event was the return of CM Punk to WWE. Almost 10 years. I mean, we're just shy 2 months and a half of the 10-year anniversary of Phil Brooks, CM Punk walking out of WWE, walking out of the Royal Rumble, after the Royal Rumble in 2014. CM Punk is back in the fold when it comes to World Wrestling Entertainment. And again, you already know my thoughts on this entire situation, on as far as an entertainer, as far as a professional wrestler, as far as business is concerned. CM Punk in TNA, not that that would have ever happened. CM Punk in AEW, CM Punk in WWE. It's not good business. It's great business. It's great entertainment. Great matches. Great content. Everything storyline-wise, content-wise, involving CM Punk and professional wrestling is going to make you money. It's going to make you banger business in whatever company you can think of. It did that for AEW, and they don't have the machine behind them. So imagine what it will do for WWE right now, where they're having some of the most profitable times in history, and you bring him back into the fold. Now, personal business aside, again, I've mentioned this in the past as well. Most people in the locker room might not be okay with CM Punk coming back to WWE. Hell, I'm not completely 100% okay with how his return might affect the rest of the locker room. As a matter of fact, he's showing up tonight on Monday Night Raw in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm still, ever since his return from Survivor Series, I'm counting down the hours till Monday Night Raw starts. Because I'm pretty sure it's 50-50 at this point. But it's going to be Randy Orton or CM Punk opening the show. Now, as far as people who aren't okay with CM Punk coming back and how that might affect locker room morale, I said this during the all the controversy that he stirred up in AEW. We're talking about grown-ass men who are supposed to be professionals and, by the way, are getting paid millions of dollars and are in the spotlight more times than not to do and perform for the audience, to have a career in what they dreamed of doing since they were little kids, most of them. You're getting paid to do what you love. And you can't set personal business aside. We gotta be professionals. We all saw the reaction from Seth freaking Rollins as soon as CM Punk's music hit. We've all seen the past comments made by Rollins in terms of CM Punk telling him to go away, telling him to not show up to WWE. He did that at the live event yesterday in Illinois. He does not want to talk about a man who for 8, 9, 10, almost 10 years at this point has been putting WWE down. So, as far as that is concerned, tough luck. Tough luck. We're talking about business. And the grand scheme of things, if you're making money, nobody cares if it's positive. Nobody cares if it's negative. WWE is a business, so they're going to do everything they can to maximize that business. Now, we've seen this in the past too. John Cena and The Rock, they had their beef. They worked things out. Cena's now in Hollywood, just like The Rock, so that played out a very different way than when Cena was a full-time performer. Now, I'm very interested in seeing what kind of comments CM Punk is going to make on Monday Night Raw. Because when he made his return to AEW, he made it twice. The first time he threw shots, low shots at WWE. And now he's back in World Wrestling Entertainment. The second time, he threw shots at his co-workers. The Elite, MJF, Hangman Adam Page, whatnot. So again, like I said, I'm not a big fan of CM Punk behind the scenes. I think he's way too sensitive to be in this business, way too sensitive to accept facts that he is just not going to be the face of any company, that he's just not going to be the priority of any company, especially not at his age. In AEW, yes, he was the biggest name they had, the biggest signing possibly ever in the company's history, and he was making the most money in terms of merch sales and numbers and all of that, but the company's priority was MJF. And make no mistake about it, he's returning to WWE, but he will not be put, at least this is my belief, he will not be put in any major situation where he dethrones Roman Reigns for that Universal Championship. That will not be CM Punk. Are we going to get Punk versus Rollins at WrestleMania? I hope we do. But they have to work things out behind the scenes, at least to the point where they can actually have they're going to have a great match if they get in the ring and if they work things out. But they have to talk things out and also have Triple H and the Major Brass talk about this entire situation. In the meantime, I wouldn't be surprised, and I would definitely not mind a CM Punk versus the current version of Shinsuke Nakamura. That's at least heading into the end of the year, heading into the Royal Rumble. That's something that's interesting me way up here. Does he deserve a world title shot? Yeah, but you don't just throw it on Monday Night Raw. You don't just throw it on a random episode of Raw. Or even at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. You just don't do that. So with that said, we'll just have to wait and see what happens tonight on Monday Night Raw. Where CM Punk is going in terms of feuds, in terms of rivalries. But, like I said, when that music hit, when Punk's music hit, I popped. Honestly, I was not expecting him to make an appearance at Survivor Series if it wasn't for that open challenge that Nakamura did not make. His return, it brought chills. And again, I popped for his return on Rampage in 2021. I popped for his return, I believe, on Collision. Yeah, it was Collision a few months ago. It's pro wrestling, man. It's stories, characters, big moments, cinematic moments. That's what we live for. That's being a professional wrestling fan. And as for, I'm willing to let bygones be bygones for the sake of entertainment, for the sake of a great professional wrestling show. With that said, what are your thoughts on CM Punk's return? Were you expecting it? Did you get excited? Did you pop? What are your thoughts on Punk and Rollins, their beef? What do you think it's going to lead to? Who do you think is going to be CM Punk's first opponent, first feud in the next few weeks in WWE? Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions in the comment section below. Now, as far as the Survivor Series pay-per-view, the men's War Games match was, well, how do I put this? Run-of-the-mill, to say the least. Now, every single member of that match bust their ass to make us believe and make us really get invested in that match. I'm not putting that into question. But I will say this, it did not get exciting as far as the men's War Games match is concerned. It did not get exciting until Randy Orton made his return and pretty much prevented Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest from cashing in their Money in the Bank briefcase, causing even more turmoil during the match, making it a world title match. Randy Orton returning, they absolutely made the right choice by having Randy Orton. I think he performed at most 5 minutes, maybe 10. I didn't really count them, but he was in the ring for 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. And that was absolutely perfect. That's what you exactly need when it comes to the Viper, because he's been gone for almost 2 years. There was definitely some ring rust. 5 minutes in, less than 5 minutes in, he was already sweating bricks because he has not been in the squared circle, at least at a high level of intensity like our WWE broadcast deserves. He has not done that in quite a bit. So, just protecting him to the point where he just does the big spots, the big RKO spot with JD McDonough, that 5-way DDT, that was awesome. I missed his mannerisms, the little tease right there where he thought about RKOing Jey Uso, the embrace he had with Cody Rhodes. Everything about Randy Orton's return was done perfectly to a T. And Cody Rhodes finishing the match up with a crossroads on Damian Priest, Senior Money in the Bank. Again, it doesn't hurt Damian Priest at all because he is still Senior Money in the Bank. He can still cash in the briefcase, and like that, he went from losing to being the world champion. If you don't believe me, look at what that did for Seth frickin' Rollins. Well, he wasn't frickin' back then. In 2015, WrestleMania 31, he lost to Randy Orton at that WrestleMania, and then in the main event of that show, the heist of the century, he became WWE World's Heavyweight Champion. Now, Survivor Series is up. We don't get another pay-per-view event from WWE, at least on the main roster, until the Royal Rumble, which means that in the next month and a half, we're going to get at least, and this is just my belief, 2 title defenses from Seth frickin' Rollins. Maybe more, maybe if there's a cash-in. We'll just, again, wait and see, but in the meantime, the War Games match, it did what it had to do. It did what it had to do. Randy Orton's return was the big story. The babyfaces got the win, which was not the case with the Women's War Games match. Now, the Women's War Games match opened the show, and for that match, the story was all about Bayley taking bullets for her Damage Control members. Bayley putting herself in compromising situations to protect Asuka, to protect Kairi Sane, to protect the women's champion Io Sky, against Becky Lynch, against Charlotte Flair, against Bianca Belair, against Shotzi, who, by the way, impressed the hell out of me with her performance because I was not expecting anything from her. And again, character-wise, storytelling-wise, she is still the weakest out of the bunch, out of the 8 performers in the ring. But I'm hoping that her performance during this War Games match might up her momentum, might up her stake currently in the SmackDown Women's Division. Now, Io Sky, that spot with the trash can, throwing herself, what else can you expect from the current Women's Champion? Impressive as hell. But again, I gotta go back to the story. To me, it's all about the story. It's all about the characters, the twists and turns. And I have a feeling on SmackDown this Friday and in the next few weeks, heading into the end of the year, heading into the start of the new year, Damage Control is gonna make fun of Bayley, gonna blame Bayley for that loss during War Games, even though she took a lot of hits that weren't meant for her, even though she got pinned because she got the most damage out of everybody else. And right now, at this point in time, it's all about gaining some sympathy for Bayley. I think that's the story, and it's pretty overdue. Bayley's been a heel for over 4 years now, and it's safe to say she's lost control of Damage Control. That Damage Control that debuted at SummerSlam 2022 is not the same that we're seeing right now. So, I'm ready to see that on SmackDown. I'm also ready to see Logan Paul show up with the U.S. title because SmackDown does not have any singles championships right now. So, Nick Aldis, he's an Australian champ, but WWE Creative, fix that. Santos Escobar got the win over Dragon Lee. That was the right call. You gotta give that this heel that you're trying to build up some wins, some momentum, even if it's underhanded, even if it's not the most dominant win ever. You have to. Otherwise, when Rey Mysterio does come back, he's facing off against a glorified jobber who can't get the job done. So that's a good creative call from WWE. And in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, WWE creative got the stories mixed up as far as Ripley versus Stark and Miz versus Gunther is concerned, because Miz put up one hell of a fight against the Intercontinental Champion, against the Ring General in that title match. He worked the legs. He compromised the champion. He made us try to believe that he could dethrone the current champion, Gunther, in that match, even though there was absolutely no chance that was going to happen. There was absolutely no chance that they were going to have The Miz and Gunther's longest reigning historic Intercontinental Championship reign. And I'll give props where they're due. Fantastic performance from The Miz. But his character has survived so many things, much worse than any kind of squashes that, and I still stand by the fact that he should have been squashed at Survivor Series by Gunther. I feel like that the story told during the Intercontinental title match should have been the story told in the Women's World title match, where Zoe Stark put up underwhelming fight. It wasn't as good. I never for a moment thought that she could beat Rhea Ripley. They never really played into that. She had some good moments, some good offense, but overall, Gunther versus Miz, the story that they told during that match, that felt like a pay-per-view match. Stark versus Rhea Ripley, even though it was a good match, the story told during that match was more for a Monday Night Raw episode. And frankly, I don't want to see Zoe Stark get another world title shot. I don't feel like she deserves it, at least from a character standpoint. Again, storytelling standpoint, the story that they told during that match, it just didn't warrant it. It didn't. And to me, the only way you could rescue Zoe Stark at this point, bring back Trish Stratus and actually have them feud one-on-one. That's it. That's the only way. You put her against Shayna Baszler, not that much to the rest. She can't get a world title match anytime soon. So you want to build her back up, have her face off against someone who's going to capture the attention of the audience like that. Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. As simple as that. So with that said, Survivor Series, great action. Possibly B+, A- pay-per-view. But other than the return of the century, the fact that hell froze over, the fact that then we got that picture online of Triple H and CM Punk, Triple H pointing at CM Punk after all their beef. And again, Triple H said it on the press conference. If the WWE Universe, if the fans want it, he's going to give it to them. And that's exactly how you run a business. That's exactly how you make money. And we'll just have to wait and see what transpires tonight on Monday Night Raw. So make sure you tune into the USA Network for that. With that said, what are your thoughts on everything that transpired at Survivor Series this past Saturday in Chicago, Illinois? What are you expecting for tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw? Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions in the comment section below. I'm Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and I'll see you next time.